My name is Bill Felton Rohner, R-O-H-N-E-R. I was with the 8th Air Force and flew as the top turret gunner, engineer gunner on the B-17. And 35 combat missions over Germany, out of England. Well, I was just a young fella, had graduated from high school and didn't have the money to go to college, so I got a job with Coca-Cola Bottling Company, and I was worked about a year or so, and then the war came along, and then I volunteered for the Air Force, and I couldn't make the pilot school training, so I went in and did the regular gunnery training, and was put on a B-17, and my pilot was named Sears, and we took a little training here in the United States, and then we wound up and flying over and to England, and after we got there, we did 35 combat missions over German territory. Pearl Harbor, if I remember correctly, I was still working. I wasn't in the service. And it wasn't long after that before I had to get up, I volunteered, trying to get into cadet to be a pilot, but I never did get to be in the pilot training. But they'd come in and wake us up at like 2 or 3, about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and we'd go for the and eat breakfast and get dressed and then go to briefing, and then after we went to briefing, we all got and they transferred us out to the airstrip, and we all loaded, took our own equipment, and were responsible for the position we were in. And I was a top turret gunner, and I had a little spot in the cockpit where I would help as an engineer gunner would be able to try to help with the pilot and co-pilot, help them taking off, calling out, and transferring fuel and all that kind of stuff. But it was something all the time, and you could see the first 9 missions we were on, we didn't have fighter protection all the way, fighter plane protection all the way. So it was pretty tough because German fighters would come in and hit us, and we'd be having to watch those German fighters, and the English and the American pilots could only take us across the channel, and then that time we were kind of on our own. So we had to protect ourselves. On the way to the target, we had those fighters, German fighters, and they tough on us. And then after 9 missions, the American and the fighter planes, they had increased their capacity, gasoline capacities and so forth. They could go all the way across the channel with us, all the way to the target and back. So that part of it finally got our fighter planes trying to wipe out the German fighters, and we didn't have that. But Hitler moved the anti-aircraft, artillery stuff in, and made anti-aircraft guns out of them. And our biggest problem was being shot at by the anti-aircraft, and nothing you could do about it, just sit there and take it. You hear this racket, and all of a sudden stuff flat started hitting the plane. You could feel it hitting the plane. And out of that, our crew, the only 2 people injured was the waist gunner and the radio operator, who were injured. I mean, when I say injured, I mean seriously injured. Injured so bad that they had to quit flying. But nobody was killed in that 35 combat missions I was on. We were the men upstairs were looking after us. See, my turret was right at the top of the plane, right over the pilot and co-pilot, and my job was to protect them from those fighters. And I stood up there and I'd shoot back at them, I mean, shoot at those German fighters when they came in, and try to keep them away from shooting. My job was to keep the pilot and co-pilot safe, because if something happened to them, the plane was gone and all of us were gone. So I did my best that I could do, and so forth. We must have been pretty lucky, because we didn't get anybody killed on that plane. One time, don't know, about the third mission, there was a question about where it was me and the tail gunner together were shooting at the same plane coming in, and it went down, but neither one of us took credit. We just reported the way what we saw it go down, but we were told we both were shooting at it. But I shot at a lot of them in the first 9 missions, but that was the closest I recall of really hitting one. Well, sometimes there was a difference in what the target was. It would be in small bombs, bunched up 100-pound, 200-pound bombs, I think. And then once or twice we had 2, I think they called them 1,000-pound bombs. Two big bombs. We were going into the bomb some big building or something. I forgot now what it was. We was actually with them. Just getting in that airplane and getting off the ground and getting over to the target and going through that flak. You can't shoot back at the flak. And at the end of the war there, when our fighters had knocked down all the German fighters, and Germany didn't have any bombers to come on bomb England, and we were just going in there. All I could say is thank the Lord that I made it. It didn't get hit, yeah. But we came back with lots of. At one time, I think our ground crew checked, and we had 100 and something little holes in the airplane caused from anti-aircraft fire. And the worst we ever did was lost one engine one time, fully. And made it back on the other 3. Well, I don't know whether you call it typical day or not, but once we got started and we were told we were going to do it, you'd be waking up that morning, you go to briefing, and you get on the plane, go do it, and then things would just happen. And you knew you didn't have control over it, about the aircraft. And but the first of it, when the first 9 missions, when the German fighters was coming at it, we'd think about how many fighters we were going to be confronted with that day, and how many of us would get shot down and wouldn't get right back home. Well, we nicknamed it Skipper and the Kids. Somebody on the plane just said, "Well, we're gonna nickname you Skipper," and that's what crew grid called him Skipper. And even though he wasn't about a year or 2 older than us, well, he was still the skipper, and we were the kids, and that's where the name came from. Well, I had a lot of memories, but nothing real. Seeing planes get shot down was one, and then looking out and seeing all the smoke and all that. When you look back and seeing where your bombs had hit the target, and then the smoke was coming up, you said, "Hey, well, maybe this is going to help us end this thing quick enough. We won't be able to come back anymore." All I can remember is that I was happy to hear it. And I thank the Lord for having lived through it, and I knew I had a chance to get back home. I'm glad it was dropped on the Japanese and not the not the Germans, because my grandfather came over from Germany when he was 12 years old, and his parents, my grandfather had 3 boys, and they went back over and fought Germans in World War I, and then me and 2 cousins went over and fought them in World War II. Oh yeah, we went on. we got to go on a few at the end of the war and all. We got to go on a few sightseeing trips to see what the targets looked like that we had bombed and what part of the country we had bombed, and we all got together and celebrated somewhat when it was over, and knowing we was gonna get to come home. And so we got a ride. We got on in England there, and got on I don't know what you call them, but it's just empty convoys coming over here, and were able to get on one, and it took 9 days and 8 nights to get from England back to the United States. And the happiest thing I remember is getting back to the United States and being able to, we landed in New York City and getting on the telephone and calling my mother and telling her I was home and safe. For many times I never thought I'd ever be back home. Before I left Atlanta, called my mother and told her that I was going to be on a streetcar leaving Atlanta at such and such about 5 o'clock one afternoon, and then I'd probably be 6 o'clock getting back to Maryland. She and my sister be at front of the courthouse to meet me, and of course I was going to be riding a streetcar, and getting on that old streetcar and riding and getting on that streetcar, and of course I had my badges on and stuff like that, and I must have had I hadn't been on that streetcar 5 or 10 minutes before I even had a lady, an elderly lady, said, "Hey," said, the streetcar was really full of people coming from Atlanta back to Marietta that use that for transportation going to a job. She was, I know you've been over there and you've been shot at and all that stuff and said, "I don't want to see you standing up there holding up." Said, "I'll get up and let you come sit in my seat." And I said, "No, ma'am, you won't either, because I want to stand up and look out so I can see stuff that I remember what it looked like from Maryland. I'm so happy to be home, see if everything looked the same somewhat from Atlanta to Marietta and hadn't been damaged by any war damage." I got back to the courthouse, and there stood my mother and my teenage sister. That's where the streetcar stopped, right in the front of old Marietta Cobb County courthouse, and I got out and saw them, and I had a younger brother, and I said, "Well, where's Richard at?" And they said, "Well, he's parking the car." And I said, "Well, when I left home, he was a little kid." I said, "What's he doing driving?" He said, "Well, had his license now for about 3 months. So he's parking the car, and we almost so we could stand there and you could see us when you came in to make sure somebody's come pick you up." Well, that made me feel like it when you stop to think about. Every time I see the flag out, you went over that was representing the country, United States, and you appreciated it, and you appreciated what you did yourself and what your buddies and all did in the war. This is a pilot, and this is a navigator, and this is a waist gunner. This is a radio operator. This is the co-pilot, and that's me. And my pilot was named Sears Crew. And incidentally, I hate to tell you this now, but we got an email of Lee did about 3 weeks ago where he died sometime a day or two after Christmas. And he and I, the only two of the 10-man crew still living. So now I'm the only one of the 10 crew members still living. Well, it means that I really appreciate it because I fought my life for it and went over there and fought for the country and I feel like it's nice to celebrate it, having done what I did. No, I just happy I survived it and all, and I think it's a country boy that made me more appreciative of the world I was living in and the work I was doing and growing up and what I was able to do, and felt like I'd contributed it been able to go into the war and made it so I could be a part of making a better, safer world to live in for my family.